Hi everyone, so I'm going to be going through another example and showing you how to create another data, but this time we're going to be using .json instead of just a regular JavaScript file for the data. So we're going to just open up a new terminal and create a new project here. You can call this project anything you'd like. And I'm going to say no to TypeScript, no to ESLint, no to everything else. Then I'll just hit enter here for that import alias. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag and drop this folder here into Visual Studio, and we're going to start working on our project here. What I want to do is at the root of our folder is just create a new folder and call it data. And then inside here, I'm going to make a new file, but this time I'm going to call it inventory.json. So it's not the same as the previous videos. I put .js before. Now it's going to be called .json. And remember when I had to do export const inventory is equal to, so it's not going to work right here because it's a .json file. So instead we're going to do something different. I don't even need to put anything. I just put the square brackets there, and then I can just add my data in between there, so it's a lot faster. So you can see here, now I just have the information that I need. There's nothing else, there's no other exports, there's no variables other than the brackets right away. And we can still use this data now and just loop through and grab whatever we need. This is just by using the .json file. Now we'll save this folder, we'll save this file, and then we're going to go back to our main page here, our home page, and I'm going to delete everything between the main tag. And right over here in between the main tag, I'm going to have to first import the data at the top. Import. So this is different. So before we had to use the curly brace bracket in order to call the variable inside our data, but now there's no variable directly inside of our file that we're calling the data from, so we don't need to use curly brace brackets around it anymore, and we can just type inventory, or you could call it whatever you want. So this one is special because you can call this anything. We can even call this data if we want, but I'll just call it inventory for now, or I'll just call it invent, or I'll just call it books, and then I could say from. Then I have to reference that area that I have all my inventory from, inventory.json. And what I want to do is, let's console log out the books. I'm going to save it, and let's just run this to see what's in our console on the browser. So if we go to the console here, we inspect our browser. In the console tab, we should see the data that we have console logged. So you could see here in the console, we could see array 6, and you can see all of our data that we've set up ourselves. Now we want to see how we can actually grab this information, but you could see it's set up exactly the same way, just like how I've done it in previous videos. It's the exact same method in order to loop through all of this information. So let's go back to our code. And here in between the main, I'm going to have to loop through our data, but first we have to save it in a use state. So I'll just add some sort of data here. And then in the use state, I'm going to use square brackets, add that inventory, or that books, the list of books into here. So the books now get stored in our use state, and now we can just grab it using the data variable. Data, and if there's something inside of it, then let us loop through it. And I'll just return. And what I'll do is I'll grab year published again, i.year published. And then I have to set up the key as well. And there we go. So this key will get rid of the error in our terminal later, because now each iteration here as it loops through is unique. So we're going to save it now, and I'm going to check to see what happens in our browser. And you can see here, we can see all the years published on our screen as it loops through. So this is another way or format of just using your data or setting up your data. You don't have to use JavaScript files. You can use .json as well in order to set all of this data up. So if you need to see this code, I'll put a link to the GitHub repository for this as well.